welcome to the March 3rd, 2026 meeting of the City of Raleigh Design Review Commission. My name is Kyle Springer, and I'm the chair of the commission. The Design Review Commission is a public body appointed by City Council that exercises both advisory and quasi-judicial functions. The commission's responsibilities are related to zoning and other land use matters, as well as the visual quality and aesthetic characteristics of the city. Today's agenda, we've just got one case before us, but I think before we do that, we're going to vote to approve minutes from February's meeting. I think we need to designate who is going to vote on that one. Kara and Chris next to me, I know are alternate members. Is anybody else? I'm sorry for not knowing. Are you still an alternate? Is it?
So you have 10 and you need 9, so it might be easier just to say who's not voting.
Okay. You two are the newest members, I believe. Okay. So. Don't raise your hand. All right. With that, has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? Any changes wanted or notes made to these? Seeing none, does anybody want a motion to approve?
Yep, so moved.
Anybody want a second?
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none. Go ahead and get those noted for decorum. With that, today's agenda includes design alternate requests from the city's Unified Development Ordinance. When hearing requests for design alternates, the commission sits like a quasi-judicial body and conducts an evidentiary hearing based on the request. That means this is like a court hearing. State law sets specific procedures and rules concerning how the commission must make its decisions. The commission's decisions are constrained by the standards in the city's ordinance and the facts presented at the hearing. The commission hears and considers evidence presented at the hearing and applies standards set forth in state law and the city's ordinance. The commission must base its decision upon competent material and substantial evidence presented at the hearing. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on facts and standards, not your personal preference or opinion. The meeting is open to the public and everyone is welcome to watch. However, participation in the evidentiary hearing is limited. Parties have the rights to fully participate. Parties may present evidence, call witnesses, and make legal arguments. Witnesses may testify to facts to which they are competent to testify, so long as those facts are related to legal standards. In addition, lay or non-expert witness testimony is limited to facts, not opinions. For certain topics, the commission needs to hear opinion testimony from expert witnesses. These topics include projections about the impacts on property values and projections about impacts on traffic safety. All right. With that, we are going to open up the evidentiary hearing for item DA 01-2026 on today's agenda. Jeff Keynes, is that correct? I'm sorry for...
Mr. Chair, before you start, there's one commissioner who was going to be recused for having a close business relationship with an affected person. You don't need her, you already have 10, so one person has to be recused anyway, or not vote anyway, so I think she wanted to state that for the record.
Yes, Brooke. Do we need to...
No, I think that unless there's any objection to that, but you have an extra member anyway, so I think that would be fine.
So Brooke will not be voting on this matter. All right. With that, Jeff, may I swear you in?
Absolutely.
All right.
Can you, is this?
Yeah.
Is this on?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Thank you. You can help present the case.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Jeff Keynes, Senior Planner, Site Development Group, City of Raleigh. I'm here to present tonight the design alternate for Raleigh Convention Center expansion located at 205 West Cabarrus Street. The subject property is located at 205 West Cabarrus Street on the southwest corner, West Cabarrus Street and South McDowell Street. The property is zoned downtown mixed use 20 with the maximum of 20 stories in height with an urban general frontage, otherwise known as DX20UG. The applicant proposes the expansion of the Raleigh Convention Center into the subject site, connecting the existing convention center via a sky bridge. The The applicant has applied for 4 design alternates in total, 3 of which are relief from the Raleigh Street Design Manual, Section 9.5, the first 2 being a reduction in driveway spacing, and the third to exceed maximum driveway width. As shown on the screen, UDO Section 10.2.17.E states the findings that must be satisfied to grant the design alternative related to this request. The 4th design alternate request is the reduction of the build-to requirements along Dawson Street, specifically UDO Sections 3.4.8C and UDO Sections 1.5.6. The build-to is the area in which a certain percentage of the front principal building facades must be located. Build-to is intended to provide a range of building placement that strengthens the street edge. In the urban general frontage, the side street build-to range is between 0 feet and 20 feet of the side streets, within the building width must comprise of at least 35% of the side building width. UDO Sections 1.5.6D states the findings that must be satisfied to grant the design alternative related to this request. And I also have city transportation staff in attendance if you have any questions relating about any of the requests that are presented to you this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. With that, the applicant will now present evidence and legal arguments in support of the request. As a reminder, any evidence and argument must focus on the applicable standards. Before you begin, please state for the record your name, address, and relation to the case.
Sure. My name is Keenan Condor. I'm an associate city attorney for the city of Raleigh, with my office address being 1 Exchange Plaza. So I'll be presenting the case on behalf of the city. If we can go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint, though, that would be appreciated. Mouse. Aha. Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back with you. I was here about a year ago in front of you seeking design alternates for the Red Hat Amphitheater. So we got approvals for the new amphitheater. Now we're here to address the current amphitheater site. So we have 4 design alternate requests for you today that will help facilitate the expansion of the convention center. But before we present that, I'd like to introduce our team. Starting with right here, we have Chris Moore. If you'll stand. He is our architect from Ratio. We have next to him Connor Linton, who is our civil engineer from Kinley Horn. Behind us here, we have Scott James from Davenport. He is our traffic engineer. And lastly, of course, we have Ms. Carrie Painter, who is the executive director of the Raleigh Convention and Performing Arts Complex here at the City of Raleigh. So while they're all standing, I'd like to go ahead and have them sworn in.
Have you all come forward, and then individually, if you will, for the record, state your name, address, in relation to the case, and then I'll have you all sworn in after that.
I'm Chris Moore. Office address is 227 Fayetteville Street, Suite 301, with Ratio Design and architect of record.
And we will, in a moment, we'll go into their qualifications and introduce them as expert witnesses.
Yeah.
Hey, Connor Linton with Kimley Horner and Associates. Office address is 421 Fayetteville Street, Suite 600, civil engineer.
Scott James with Davenport Engineering. Headquarters for Davenport is 119 Brookstone Avenue, Winston-Salem.
Carrie Painter, Executive Director of the Convention Center, 500 South Salisbury.
Right. And do you swear or affirm the testimony you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, and then before we have Carrie come up to tell you a little bit about the Convention Center expansion project as a whole, as well as its participation in a project to revitalize this part of downtown, I'd like to get off some housekeeping items. We'd like to introduce a copy of this PowerPoint, our application materials into the record for this proceeding.
Noted. Thank you.
And then now we will go into an overview of the project from Mrs. Carrie Painter.
So good afternoon. I'm delighted to be back. As Keenan mentioned, we were here about a year ago, and we were talking about the Red Hat Amphitheater, which is the first of what we sort of call fondly the three-legged stool. So the amphitheater is on its way, and it is now, the utilities are done, and we're about to see steel coming out of the ground, and we're just so happy to be really all in it. And it will be open for the 27 concert season, so that's a huge coup for us. The other second leg of that stool is the Omni Hotel, because they all depend on each other. And so the Omni Hotel is now underway as well, if you've seen, with its utilities, and they will open in 28. And then our third domino to follow is today's convention center that we're here to discuss. And so the three rely on each other. One feeds the other business, one sustains each other. And so it's really a unique and beautiful anomaly to have all three happen at the same time, particularly the two most cities struggle with. We have rooms, but not a convention center or the alternative, and the projects really struggle and typically don't make it so well. But we are in a really beautiful spot where we have all three moving at once. And so today we're here to talk about the convention center. We're excited about our new design, which we're giving you a little peek of here. And it's going to be really exceptional. It's going to add about 300,000 square feet of public meeting space and adjoin to the other building over the road, as you're seeing in this picture, and really elevate the downtown and the whole new area. So I'm here and happy to answer any questions, and thank you for taking the time to work with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, next we will go ahead and introduce more thoroughly our team architect, Chris Moore, who is dressed like an architect today. So Chris, first of all, will you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your professional background, as well as specifically what you do in relation to this project?
Sure. So again, I'm Chris Moore with Ratio Design. We're the architect of record for the projects, amphitheater and convention center expansion specifically. I am the project manager for the design team for the project here. A little bit about myself. I'm a twice-over grad from Clemson, both bachelor's and master's in architecture. I'm a licensed architect here in North Carolina, Virginia, and New Zealand. Got about 20 years of experience in the design and construction industry. So yeah, let's just jump right into a little bit of context on the project here. So I'm introducing the project in relation to the design alternates that we'd like to propose today. For site context, you can see on the screen there the existing convention center to the east. We've got McDowell Street between the existing Red Hat site and the convention center, Cabarrus to the north, Lenoir to the south, and Dawson to the west. I want to draw your attention right now to the retaining wall, the arc along the southern to northeastern corner, southwest northeastern corner that traverses the site there, that will play a role in a number of the reasons for the request that we're making. That service road and retaining wall serve the loading for both the existing convention center and the Marriott Hotel. So we're retaining that in operation both through construction and in perpetuity for the projects as far as we understand. That retaining wall does retain quite a bit of soil to the north and to the west. Also, along the line here, you will see the footprint of the proposed convention center and a dashed red line. That dashed red line represents the existing utility easement between or along the western side of the site and Dawson Street. That will play into the design alternate of the build to, as well as some of the other requests here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 do represent the design alternates, which I will read just straight into it here. Cabarrus Street intersection clearance, design alternate number 1. Design alternate number 2 is the Lenoir Street intersection clearance. Number 3 is Cabarrus Street driveway width. And number 4, Dawson Street build to. We will go into further detail with our engineers and those. Lastly, as we are considering these design alternates, the design of the facility and safety of the site, we've proposed the following conditions of approval. Both of them are very similar, so I'll read one and it will be applicable for both Cabarrus and Lenore Streets, at least one on-site employee who is trained and equipped in accordance with American Traffic Safety Service Association, ATSA standards, shall be present to assist delivery vehicles accessing the driveway located off of both Cabarrus and Lenore Street. But with that, I'm happy for Keenan to introduce our engineers for expert witness then.
So thank you, Chris, and thank you for also pointing out the 3 site features that really drive the need for these design alternates. That is the existing Lenore Street driveway, the retaining wall that you identified, and as well as the easement on the west side of the site. And again, we're introducing Mr. Moore as an expert witness, an expert in architecture. So next, we'll hear from our traffic expert, Mr. Scott James. So Scott, again, just like with Chris, we just give us a little bit about your professional background, your time in the industry, as well as your experience with this project specifically.
Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Scott James. I work for Davenport Engineering, and Davenport is the traffic engineering firm of record on the Red Hat Amphitheater and Convention Center traffic impact analysis. I'm here representing the firm also for the questions related to the design alternate with regards to traffic operations. My credentials are 2 accredited degrees, bachelor's and master's, both in civil engineering. I am also a registered professional engineer in Texas, Maryland, and North Carolina. And I am also a certified professional traffic operations engineer, which is a nationally recognized credential confirming my knowledge, skills, and abilities in traffic operations, analyses, and safety investigations. Specific to this proposal before the board, I will be speaking to the traffic operations concerns and consequences raised by the design alternate proposals before you.
So we'll be introducing Mr. James as an expert in traffic congestion and safety. That's acceptable. All right, and then we'll move on to our civil engineer who is going to do the presentation for the most part on our 4 design alternates. And that is Connor Linton from Kimley Horn. And again, for fear of being repetitive, please give us your professional background, years experience, as well as your experience on this project specifically.
Sure. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Connor Linton. I'm a civil engineer with Kimley Horn and Associates. We are the civil engineers of record for this project. I have a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Clemson University. I have about 9 years, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of North Carolina. I have about 9 years of experience in the land development industry. My experience includes several industrial, mixed-use, and civic projects located in the city of Raleigh, which includes the Red Hat Amphitheater project that's under construction right now, and I've been involved with the Convention Center project since day 1.
So before Connor goes into our 4 requests, I just want to be clear that we're introducing him as an expert in civil engineering. So with that, I'll have you read the first request.
Sure. So design alternate 1, this is the Cabarrus Street driveway intersection clearance. We are seeking 36.3 feet of relief from the Raleigh Street Design Manual for the Cabarrus Street driveway. Full compliance with the code would require a minimum 100 feet of clearance between the proposed driveway center line and the intersection of Cabarrus Street and South Dawson Street. Due to the position of an existing retaining wall that Chris pointed out, the site proposes 63.7 feet of clearance.
So as this intersection clearance alternate deals with congestion and safety, I'll have our traffic safety expert come on and speak a little bit about this.
Thank you. The minimum spacing requirements for the Raleigh Street Design Manual are relative to the type of roadway and spacing from the adjacent intersection roadway. It's a concern raised by the operations through the intersection. This subject driveway for the design alternate request is a local street intersecting with a major street, and highlighted on screen is the minimum spacing requirement per the UDO. The first observation is the number of conflicting movements that would be of primary concern through this intersection are reduced because South Dawson is a one-way street. In addition, it is traffic signal controlled. So using the operations of the traffic signal, we can assume that any vehicle turning left from Dawson onto Cabarrus Street would proceed from the innermost lane from the stop condition. We've put on screen an exhibit showing the minimum site triangle distance. This is a technical term derived from the AASHTO Geometric Policy Guidebook, which is one of the foundation texts of the Raleigh Street Design Manual. In green is the minimum line of sight for a driver if they were making that left turn at 15 miles per hour. That would be proceeding on a green indication. The red triangle illustrates that same minimum line of sight for the left turn at 20 miles per hour. As you can see on the exhibit, there is no visual obstruction between the left turn maneuver and the proposed driveway location. Furthermore, because it is traffic signal controlled, it is highly likely that any left turn will proceed at a much lower speed than 15 or 20 miles per hour. Should the motorist proceed on a green indication, they are required by law to yield to the pedestrian in the crosswalk if there is one. So for these reasons, we think it's highly unlikely that a conflicting movement will occur with inadequate sight distance.
All right, we'll bring Connor up one more time, and we'll keep Scott here. So, Connor, will you go through the relevant findings for your experience, please?
Yes, so these are the design alternate findings as required by the Raleigh UDO. So we'll just run through these. Number one, or in my professional opinion, this is consistent with the intent of the Raleigh Street Design Manual. The presumed intent of this code section is to place driveways far enough away from intersections for safety. So given this unique site constraints, we've placed it as far away from the intersection as possible while still considering safety. I'll leave number two for Scott. Number three, this will not create additional maintenance responsibilities for the city. Number four, this has been designed and certified by a professional engineer. Number five, I do not believe this will adversely impact stormwater collection or conveyance. And then number six, given the existing physical environment being the 20-foot retaining wall near the driveway location, it would impede a driveway that would meet the Raleigh Street Design Manual code.
Thank you. And then to reiterate, the existing traffic controls will address any concerns about safety or safe sight lines, and therefore we do not agree. We do not believe this will increase congestion or compromise safety in its current location.
All right, and now we're in a little bit of a decision point for the board. We can take any questions you have about this design alternate or wait till the end of all four to answer any questions that you have.
Do you have any preference, or do you just want to go through? All right, let's proceed with the entire presentation. Thank you.
All right, Connor again.
Okay, this is design alternate number two. This is the Lenore Street driveway intersection clearance. We are seeking 98.5 feet of relief from the Raleigh Street Design Manual for the Lenore Street driveway. Full compliance with the code would require a minimum of 100 feet of clearance between the proposed driveway center line and the intersection of Lenore Street and South Dawson Street. Again, due to the positioning of an existing retaining wall and an existing driveway curb cut, the project is proposing 51.5 feet of clearance.
So while you're here, Connor, I'll just have you stand here. This is substantially similar, because you work on the Red Hat Amphitheater project, the new Red Hat Amphitheater. And this is substantially similar to what was approved for that new amphitheater with a Lenore Street, not Lenore Street, but with a south side intersection clearance spacing.
Correct.
Design also very similar to what was approved for Red Hat Amphitheater last year.
Correct, and this proposed driveway is directly across the street from the driveway into the Red Hat site.
And I'll just have you stand here.
And similar to the driveway on Cabarrus Street, this is also the local street intersecting with the major street condition. However, it is subject to the departure approach as illustrated on screen. And the primary concern for positioning a driveway close to the intersection on a departure approach is that any entering vehicle from the driveway would encounter vehicles queued up at the stop condition, which is highlighted on screen. However, this is not a driveway that would be used during peak hours for client access. This is proposed as delivery vehicles only. It's unlikely the conflicts would occur during the peak period, but in the event there is need to access or egress from this driveway, one of the recommendations is to have an ATSA-trained staff member present to assist.
All right, so running through the same 6 findings. In my professional opinion, this is consistent with the intent of the Raleigh Street Design Manual. Again, the presumed intent is to space the driveways far enough to ensure safety. And again, this aligns with the driveway across the street and is similar to a design alternate approved by the commission last year for the Red Hat Amphitheater site. I'll leave number 2 for Scott again. Number 3, I do not believe this will create additional maintenance responsibilities for the city. Number 4, I am a professional engineer and I have designed and certified this design. Number 5, I do not believe this will adversely impact stormwater collection and conveyance. Number 6, given the existing physical environment being the retaining wall, truck driveway, and existing curb cut, we believe that meeting the code would be unreasonable in this case. So.
And to restate, the driver would have the yield condition, and if they were trying to access the driveway or exit the driveway during peak conditions, they would have an assistant on site to help them with that. Therefore, we do not think this proposal would increase congestion or compromise safety.
Okay, design alternate number 3, this is the Cabarrus Street driveway width. So we are seeking 17.2 feet of relief from the Raleigh Street Design Manual for the width of the Cabarrus Street driveway. Full compliance would limit the driveway width to 40 feet maximum. So in order to accommodate anticipated vehicle movements for the convention center, we are proposing 57.2 feet.
In support of this design alternate, the design vehicle was selected as the largest likely vehicle to access the site. The width of the driveway would limit the number of back and forth maneuvers for that vehicle across the center line of Cabarrus. Therefore, an oversized or widened driveway, in fact, reduces congestion and increases safety in terms of the entering and exiting movements. Therefore, this design alternate proposal, in fact, reduces congestion and increases safety.
And I do want to point out, before we go into the findings again, this is a convention center, so it's a little bit different than the downtown events, or the downtown buildings that already exist for which the driveway width requirements were created. The trucks that are anticipated to serve this site are those appropriate for trade shows, that sort of thing. So to have a functional convention center that can really accommodate the shows that we're targeting, we need to be able to accommodate big enough trucks to support those types of shows. So that's another reason why it's very important to get this driveway width design alternate. So with that, I'll hand it back to Connor.
Okay, so the 6 findings again. In my professional opinion, this is consistent with the intent of the Raleigh Street Design Manual. The presumed intent is to reduce just unnecessarily wide driveways in the city of Raleigh. In this case, like Keenan said, this is serving a convention center site with large truck traffic. So we believe it's safer to offer a wider driveway to limit the truck, kind of bumping over the curb as they turn out of the site or conflicting with pedestrian movements. Lead number 2 for Scott. So number 3, I do not believe this will create additional maintenance responsibilities for the city. Number 4, this has been designed and certified by a professional engineer. Number 5, this will not adversely impact stormwater collection and conveyance. And number 6, the burden of compliance is not reasonable given the intensity of the development being the convention center with the large truck traffic.
And to harken back to the first design alternate, the wider driveway increases lines of sight for the motorist and for the driver of the vehicle. And this design alternate is paired with the ATSA-trained employee as on-site assistance. Therefore, we do not anticipate it to increase congestion. In fact, it should decrease and increase safety.
So design alternate number 4, this is the Dawson Street Build 2. We are seeking 89 feet of relief from UDO Section 156 for the Dawson Street frontage. Full compliance with this section would require a Build 2 of 35% of the 420-foot frontage along Dawson Street, which is within the DX20 UG zoning. We're proposing 14 feet of building and 44 feet of amenity area within the Build 2, or 13.8%.
Before we change slides, we're proposing 44 feet of amenity area. Are we proposing 44 feet, or is that all that counts?
So yeah, we can only claim up to 44 feet of amenity area within the build-to zone. The intent is actually to have this entire frontage activated by plazas, landscaping, and enhanced sidewalks. So yeah, we'll have more than the 44 feet of amenity area.
And that certainly influences your opinions on whether we meet these findings, because they predominantly deal with pedestrian comfort, and many areas certainly provides that.
Yeah, correct. So for the 3 findings for the build-to design alternate, I do believe this is consistent with the intent of the build-to regulations. Given this building takes up an entire city block, we are meeting build-to requirements on 3 sides of the site. Dawson Street is actually considered a side street, so less of a requirement on that side. But again, have the truck driveway going down that side of the site, and will be activated with amenity space. Number 2, I do not believe this will negatively alter the character-defining street. Dawson Street is actually a DOT highway in this section of downtown, and particularly this stretch of Dawson Street doesn't have a lot of buildings kind of backing up to the sidewalk, so we believe this will be consistent with this area. Number 3, do not believe that the change of percentage of building that occupies the build-to zone or increased setback will negatively impact pedestrian access, comfort, or safety, again, due to the fact that we're providing amenity area along the entire frontage, and the sidewalk along Dawson Street is to remain in place.
So before we go to questions, I just want to put a nail on it on the build-to. We're meeting the build-to on 3 sides. The reason why we can't provide the build-to on the 4th side is mainly because of this easement. We are still creating a lot of pedestrian comfort by providing a lot of amenity area, but we're also providing build-to on the 3 sides, and the fourth side that we're not meeting the build-to on is a one-way street, a major north-south thoroughfare, really not that pedestrian-friendly. I mean, we've all driven down South Dawson.
Correct.
People are driving fast, people are getting out of downtown, heading towards 40. So
Correct.
of
Yeah.
all the 4 to not be able to meet it on, that would probably be the preference, but we have met it to the best of our ability given the site constraints.
Correct. And yeah, just to touch on that utility easement again. So there is a 42.5-foot wide public utility easement along this side of the site, meaning a building can't be located within 42.5 feet of the property line. So the build-to line actually shifts to within 10 feet of the easement instead of the usual 20-foot requirement. So just trying to squeeze a building into that 10-foot zone is a little tough given all the constraints and the fact that the building is already taking up most of the site. So.
Well, great. So thank you very much, Connor. And we're available to answer any questions that you have. Any questions about the project, about the operations of a convention center in Raleigh, those questions should go to Carrie. But we also have, of course, our traffic engineer, our civil engineer, our architect to answer any questions that you have. So we are open-minded to hearing what you have to say.
All right, are there any members of the public present who wish to speak? All right, seeing none. All right, commissioners, do you have any further questions for the applicant?
Could you guys walk through the truck turning diagram? I mean, I was studying that and just trying to understand, like, could you kind of trace the movement? Is it like a K turn? Is it a T turn? Are those guys backing up to back in?
Sure. So this only shows trucks leaving the driveway. So trucks entering will actually, enter and they won't have to do like a 3-point turn or a back and forth movement. A lot of that will happen inside the building where you see the trucks parked in this diagram. So that's kind of the intent of the wide driveway, is to allow trucks to make a big sweeping turn in, do their turnaround in that, this kind of shape here, and then back into the loading area here. This diagram shows how wide the driveway must be to accommodate trucks turning in and out of the convention center.
So it's a left turn, and then whatever K turn they're doing is inside the structure or something
Yeah,
like
correct.
that.
It would be within the property line and inside the building. Yep. Yeah, from all angles.
So trucks are not backing in off the street?
Correct. No reversing in the right of way.
Can I ask you to go a little further back and help us understand why the retaining wall must stay?
Yeah, Chris, you might be better suited. So
The existing drive there, I might take us back up to one of the earlier images here. Should be able to get to it quickly. All right, this is a reasonable image to look at here, so that the building footprint is there in that teal color, and the existing service drive is that blue color through there. And that existing service drive serves both the convention center and the Marriott Hotel, goes underneath McDowell Street there. So that it's a subsurface tunnel that's there. So that retaining wall allows that service drive to exist in there. Cabarrus Street is I don't want to give exact numbers because I'll get it wrong, but a good bit higher than the level of the loading dock area of the existing convention center and Marriott.
Something also important to note about why you have to keep the retaining wall is that, that blue driveway serves the existing convention center site, and that's going to continue in use during construction. So to maintain the current amphitheater site, with trucks continuing to serve it, cars continue to serve it, as well as the Marriott, you have to leave that driveway as well as the retaining wall.
So that'll, yeah, as Keenan's saying, that driveway just stays in use from here until the completion of the project, and through completion of the project, it will serve all three buildings at the end of this build here.
Or else there'd be an interruption in convention center programming.
Correct. And the Marriott loading.
And the Marriott, yes.
Correct.
And so that delivery drive is one level lower than the entrance off of Cabarrus Street, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I guess where in this new design does that entrance off of Lenore become a tunnel? You talked about plaza and amenity space off of Dawson. I'm just trying to understand the design on that west side.
Yeah, I'll stay on this here, as it kind of helps illustrate that. So we are on grade both at the southwest corner off Lenore and at Cabarrus Street for our entry points there. And that is a level difference. Mm-hmm. You can see as the drive goes underneath the building is cantilevered or structured over top of the drive there. It's not a tunnel per se, but it is a drive underneath the building, and there are backflow services in that area as well. To the north there, where you see the blue coming back out there, that is open air above. So that's the face of the building is set back off of Cabarrus Street to allow for that open air area, and then it goes into the tunnel, the existing tunnel at the McDowell Street intersection there, at the property line. That is the existing service entry.
Okay. And on the west side, what portion of that drive is covered by plaza?
Covered by the plaza. There's no drive that's covered by plaza there. The area in the teal there is the loading dock area from Cabarrus above. So if you see where the number 3 is, that's our loading dock entry from Cabarrus. That's where the trucks are coming in over top of that drive there. All of the plaza space, where the number 4 is where the outdoor amenity space is adjacent to the building, and then we have the outdoor amenity space on the opposite side of the drive there, but all that is on grade, following roughly the same grade as the drive through there.
Okay, so that driveway is not covered, it's just open air.
It's open air. It is covered by building where it shows underneath the building there, but it's still open air either end. It's not, doesn't go into a tunnel or a building at that point in time.
Do you have a rendering or a cross-section or something that shows that?
We do not, with this current presentation, I do not believe.
Or any further detail on the design of the amenity space on that west side?
I'm not sure that we've included that in this presentation here.
So really, none of these design alternates hit on amenity space. Really, when we're talking about the Lenore Street driveway, we're just talking about where it is located on that street frontage.
Right.
So we're just moving it, a driveway that had to be there, we're just moving it, or exists. We're moving it closer to South McDowell. So it's, amenity space really doesn't, is not one of the findings related to this intersection clearance design alternate request, but we have, as talked about in our build to design alternate discussion, we are providing more amenity space than what is required.
Is the nature of the driveway intended to be more pedestrian and it's bollarded off? Or is there like some kind of, paving that signifies different things, different uses going on there? What's your intention? I'm trying to understand. Is this just a service entry that happens to go through an amenity area, but that the public really is invited in? Or can you describe it as, no, it's actually something that's like this kind of hangout boulevard hardscape that until a truck drives on it is full of people breaking out during an event inside the convention center? I'm trying to get a kind of day in the life, maybe not so technical and engineered, but
Understand the context.
understand how the users, both users at an event, but also people just taking their lunch downtown.
I'll start with the intent of that blue area. That is a service drive, and it is separated by, you can see some planters in that area there that kind of designate the pedestrian area from the drive. So the drive itself is a service drive. It's not intended in use as a pedestrian zone once you've entered the site there. We do have Lenore Street crossings of that drive that are part of the normal east-west pedestrian way that are there, but it's not intended to be used as a part of the user experience. It is a utility in that sense.
I'm not tracking. I'm hearing two different things. I'm hearing one, it stinks to walk down this road, so we should give relief from the build to. But then we're claiming some amenity also as justification for giving exemption from the build to. So these two in my head are conflicting. And then I'm seeing a lot of open space. And there's also the argument that there is no established street wall. And I look north at where it is. So understand the constrictions of the easement, not understanding how this does anything to address the street wall. Or, as you said, the amenity isn't related to the adjustment. We keep claiming it.
So let me start by saying, so your question is related to which of the four design alternates?
The Dawson Street build to.
Okay, let's go to the build to. So let's talk about the build to. The build to, again, we're talking about where should the building be. And the building is restricted, where we can put it is restricted by that easement. So there really is not a possibility that we can put it in a place that's compliant. But we have met this percentage that we're proposing, and we've met this percentage by maxing out what we can take credit for amenity space. So I'm not saying, this is how the number was calculated, that 44 feet of amenity area is how you get to 13.8% build to. But I'm just saying, we are providing more than 44 feet. That's just the most number, that's the highest that you can count for this purposes. So that's all I wanted to point out there. But there is, to not request this design alternate, we would have to put the building closer to South Dawson, which just can't be done given that easement is there. So it's kind of, unfortunately, if this design alternate is not granted, there's not a convention center with this, that fills up this whole block.
Thanks. I'm understanding the physical constraints, but what's happening in the void?
All right, let me help explain the design intent here. On the west side of that red line, anywhere that's not gray here, so the gray does represent the service road, that is the existing utility easement that you have along Dawson Street there. That is being programmed out as enhancing that existing utility easement area. So it's grass and wooded area over there. It will be enhanced landscape design over there. It's not as intended, and Kira, you can add the operations here as necessary, but that's not intended as like the spill out space from the convention center necessarily, as it is providing that green area along Dawson Street that has to exist as an easement there. The area to the east of that road there, which you can see here in this image, you've got those bold lines are representing some bioswale areas, I believe, or bioretention areas. Just to the east of that are the plaza areas that would immediately be associated with the convention center there. So that's where you would have the patrons of the convention center spilling out there.
Can you point at the bioretention in the plaza?
Can you
use the squiggle thing?
Yeah, do you see so these areas right here provide that buffer zone between where you could expect the patrons of the convention center to be from the road. And there is a crossover here so that you do have an access point across that service road. The area that we're talking here is the area that we're talking about enhancing the landscape of that existing easement area.
Enhancing it beyond turf?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas, Dave, actually, if you look at the agenda on L501, did you have a planting plan, which I think you would be interested in seeing?
Page 50.
Pages in it?
Page 50.
When we say spilling out, that is connected to a meeting room. So spilling out is a very grand word for one meeting room's worth of people in capacity. It's not a really large plaza that would typically spill out in the front of the building or on the side. So yes, it's amenity and it is a chance to be outside, but it is just a small space to the right of that drive.
Planting plan helps. Thank you.
Do we have someone from the city who can speak about traffic and
Yes, I think
streets?
Mensa's here if you have any questions. Mensa Webb from City Transportation.
Great.
Evening, Mensa. I'm going to get you sworn in. Before you begin, can you please, for the record, state your name, address, in relation to the case?
Mensa Webb. I'm a senior review engineer here with the City of Raleigh, a professional engineer in the state of North Carolina.
All right, and do you swear or affirm the testimony you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, kind of just to cut to the chase here, in terms of all of the restrictions that the site is facing, do you feel like this is the most acceptable plan in terms of curb cuts, safety for pedestrians?
Yes, I do.
Okay. That's my question. Thank you for answering it.
Mensa, if you don't mind, while you're up here, and maybe you covered it with that answer, but just to be clear, so with the driveway spacing both on Cabarrus and Lenore and the driveway width on Cabarrus, do you have any concerns over safety or anything related to the design?
Concerns over safety? No. It is a pretty tight space. I think as was alluded to earlier in the presentation, is a convention center different from the other buildings in the surrounding area of downtown. I think additionally, they also spoke to the fact that the convention center staff, when they do have the vehicles, the trucks entering into the site, additional staff will be made available to help usher those vehicles into the site, which also adds additional layers of safety. So I'm not concerned about safety for the proposed design as it stands.
Is there any additional signage or surface treatment you would like to see, or do you think that they should consider in order to make that?
Yes, I think we have had those conversations, and as we're going forward towards our SPR approval, we will be able to identify if we need to have maybe additional portions that are signage or driveways that are that stand out for pedestrians and drivers.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing. You know, the applicant in this project is the city, so it's a little bit unorthodox in that the conversations between the applicant developer and city transportation don't end. You know, it's an ongoing relationship, and obviously the city is extremely responsible to its constituents, as well as the expertise already in this in city employment. So. Transportation staff like Mensa have been involved throughout and will continue to be involved throughout. So unlike your typical private developer project, once we get approval, it's not the last time we'll ever hear from Mr. Webb.
All right, Any further questions before bringing this to the table? Staff, anything additional you'd like to add before we table the discussion? All right. Hearing-
I do.
Go ahead, Chris.
So back to that west side. Looking at the planting plan, it looks like there's some tables and chairs outside that west side, and maybe even a bridge that goes over that service access driveway to Dawson Street. Is that correct? Am I reading that right?
That's a surface walkway there, so that would all be at level with the service drive there.
Okay, so that's at grade
Mhm.
across there. Gotcha.
Yeah, and that area, you can see the teal outline there, that is the building overhead. So the area that you're seeing there is part of the plaza associated with the building is under the building
Okay.
there.
And so you're getting that 14 feet of building by whatever that little thing is towards the north part of the page?
Yeah, so there is the service yard area. I believe what you're looking at here is this little trapezoid
Yep.
in this area here. So that's a part of the service yard area, generator screens, transformers behind a wall that starts to dig into the embankment there. So if you think about the site sloping up from Lenore up to Cabarrus there. So we do start to see some elevation occur along that south to north area there.
Okay, and then that portion of the western facade just south of there, how far off that 10-foot build-to line is that face?
I'm not sure we have a measurement on here, so I don't want to speak incorrectly.
Looks like it's probably 10 to 15 feet?
Yeah, 10 to 15 feet in that range there. And that, for reference, part of the building there, that is the 50K ballroom area. Ballroom is the incorrect term there, I believe, but that's that space above there.
Okay. And then I'm assuming, is there anything about that entrance off of Lenore Street onto that service drive that's different than the way it operates today?
Of the service entry?
Yeah.
That may be a better question for Connor. I can speak briefly to it. Right now, there is an entry gate about, I want to say 30 to 40 feet off of the current intersection. That gate is being moved up to the corner of that little trapezoid right there, so this becomes more of an open service drive through that area and actually keeping queuing off of that immediate turn into the service drive there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the geometry of the driveway is mostly the same as the existing driveway. There's some slight variation where we're redoing the curb along Lenore and kind of tying into that new curb line. As it goes into the site more, there is a little bit of variation as well, but essentially follows the same alignment as the existing driveway.
Okay.
All right. Anything further? All right. Hearing no additional questions or presentation of relevant facts, the commission will now close the hearing and bring the matter to the table. As a reminder, the commission is tasked with deciding if, based on the evidence presented, the proposal meets the applicable standards. The decision cannot be based on personal preference of commission members, rather is based on standards and evidence. If based on its deliberations, the commission requires additional evidence, the commission will reopen the hearing. All righty. Anybody like to start the discussion?
I was going to say I'm good with it.
I was going to ask if we could pull up the findings of fact, particularly for the build to.
Thank you.
God, I do have another question for the applicant. Can we open it up? The utility easement, does that continue further north or further south along Dawson? Or is it just on this block?
It continues further south. I mean, it crosses the street and goes south to a different property. To the north, I think most of the utilities stay within the street, so there's not an easement, but that easement contains an 18-inch sanitary sewer line and a 60-inch stormwater line. So both very major utilities that serve most of downtown.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Bringing the discussion back to the table, closing discussion. All right. Chris, that question you had, does that help you feel any more comfortable with this design alternate request?
It does. I mean, right now, the driveway requests, after hearing from Mensa, don't bother me. It sounds like they've worked with transportation to get probably as good of a resolution as they can for what needs to happen. And so then, I mean, this building is really setting the wall, right, the streetscape for this whole section of Dawson. There's not a lot else that's there, right? There's the police station to the north that's not going to be there for very long. We've got Red Hat to the south, and I can't remember from the design of Red Hat how what's happening on this corner really relates to the edge of that. Would have been nice to see something that showed the context of both of them together. And so, yeah, as this project sets that architectural wall for Dawson, I know it's not a great street to walk down right now, but hopefully that changes. And this project is going to be a big part of it, which is why I wanted to understand. If that easement continued to the north, and we knew that the next block was also going to have the same constraints, that would be one thing, but it doesn't continue. So that's what I'm wrestling through in my mind right now.
Yeah, I was considering the same thing. In the north of it, it's going to max out to the property line, whatever comes back in there, I think you'd assume. And why I was asking about what was in the void, and what's in there is, I think, far more appealing than what's happening now. And if I remember right, the Red Hat had more landscape down there with its entry similar. I'm not certain. All the loading's on that side of the new amphitheater, right? Yeah, so not ideal as a street wall, but there will be, at least from what I'm understanding of this plan, a wide landscape with vertical material in it.
Including shade trees, which I think
Yeah.
if we think about the scale of that build to, or just feeling that, if in an ideal world where the rest of Dawson gets built up and if the build to moves back, this can become then a pocket park. I think given the utility easement, it's a pretty thoughtful solve. Give probably more amenity to like the everyday pedestrian than if a building was right onto it. I'm always partial to landscape, I know this. But I think having shade trees as part of that planting plan that will hold, that will help holding the build-to line also kind of mitigates that if we can't do anything about the easement. I understand your concern, though. Because then if that easement is the thing that pushes it back from the street, at that point, I don't know that another 10 feet really matters if we don't have any jurisdiction over moving the whole utility. So to quote Dave, I'm good with it.
With that, I do want to make one kind of remark, kind of design school thing. When you talk about amenity planners or areas that aren't kind of shown in the presentation, it makes it really hard for us to follow along. So going forward, would advise applicants to maybe come with a little bit more material, some sections around those areas and other illustrations in the design materials you're presenting to us. While we are occasionally able to bring up the applicant package, sometimes we're not, and those can really kind of help us further with these discussions and understand the full design intent. With that, I can turn back to the commissioners. Would anybody like to make a motion on this case? Or Catherine, if I've overstepped.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just anticipating, if somebody does make a motion, please remember there's conditions that were offered as well. And it might be helpful to go to that condition page.
We were just looking at the landscape plan that was included in our packet, and the couple trees on Cabarrus Street, just to the east of that entrance into the loading area, looks like the truck turn radius goes right through those tree canopies. So I would just suggest you guys take a look at that planting plan and make sure that there aren't going to be any conflicts with the trucks turning in and the trees that are proposed on the street. Does that make sense?
All right, here we go. I'm going to make a motion to approve with the proposed conditions 1 and 2.
I think that they tie to the driveway request. So they're not on the build to request, but they're on the request for which they relate.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve with the proposed conditions of approval applying to number 1, 2, and 3 of the.
Just 1 and 2.
1 and 2 of the design alternate.
I actually thought 1, 2, and 3 was right because I think they said the driveway width.
Okay.
They also wanted that to apply, so.
Great. I'll make a motion to approve with the proposed conditions of approval applying to design alternates 1, 2, and 3 as listed on the presentation. Number 4, I make a motion to approve.
That's presented.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
I thought I heard.
Dave did it.
Dave
Yes.
seconded.
Yes. Yeah.
It's okay. All right. Again, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Hearing none. The commission's written decision will be adopted when the minutes of this meeting are. Apologies, I misread that, or this is worded oddly. The commission's written decision will be adopted when the minutes of this meeting are adopted, and the written decision will be provided to the applicant and other parties with a right to such notice following the adoption of this decision. Thank you all very much. All right. With that, just commission business, a reminder for our annual report, the areas which you have volunteered to draft or update that material, if we can get that to KC by Monday. So we'll have that ready for the meeting on the 19th for our annual retreat. I don't think I've got anything else. Dave, am I missing anything? Or Keegan, I don't know if you have an update on any applications or grant proposal requests that we've gotten since we've opened up that link.
Yeah. You're good. Yeah, so just on the design impact grant, I believe we've gotten at least 3. I was just going to check the inbox that we have for it to see. Just a reminder that, yes, I believe we've gotten 3, and we may get a 4th. I believe someone reached out. So just a reminder that it closes Monday. So if you still want to communicate out to your networks about the opportunity, there's definitely still time for people to apply. And then, yeah, once Casey returns, we'll talk about the best opportunity for you all to review those.
Okay. Thank you for the update.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we've handled all the material on the agenda this evening, so thank you for your attendance. I'll see you all in a couple weeks.